All right, finally just got off the struggle bus. This stupid stepper motor here has been causing me all kinds of grief. I mentioned before I let the smoke out when I hooked it up, assuming that all the wires, all the colors, each colored wire was the same as these stepper motors down here, which was not the case. So I got the new stepper in there, hooked everything up, got the wires right, went to try it, and it was making like a horrible grinding noise. And started checking through things, double checking to make sure I had the wiring right. Went through the whole thing and checking continuity here, and finally figured it out. So when I pulled the connector off the stepper motor here and tested continuity, that's the first thing you do from one end to the other, everything tested out perfectly. But when I plug it in, nothing was working properly. So I eventually figured out that right back in here, I had one wire that wasn't quite properly soldered and was making an intermittent connection. When I had it unplugged from the driver, it would make perfect connection. Everything looked normal. As soon as I plugged it back in, there's enough tension and strain in there that it wasn't making contact fully. So that's what was causing it. It wasn't quite getting all the right signals through to that stepper. Got her fixed up now. Let's try this out here. All works. Let's go up. Yep. Heads on up. Hits the limit switch and stops. Alarm goes off here. Let's clear that. Perfect. Z down. Awesome. That's great. Great. So now I can close this thing up and start working on, let's see here. Well, I guess I want to get that water table in here next, because I need to mount, I need to get set up with a little, I don't know what exactly I'm going to do, but I'll figure it out. I got this, I picked up one of those cheap DROs, magnetic DROs. It's 2 feet long, so that'll allow me to kind of calibrate things, make sure that I'm getting the same amount of travel on the left side as the right side, i.e. make sure the belt tension is right, so that I effectively have the same amount of, what would you call those, grooves in the belt from one end of the machine to the other, making sure that they're equal side to side so that it moves the same amount left to right and doesn't skew. So that'll be one of the next things I do here. So making some good progress. Finally time to get that water table in here. All right, working away on the water table here. Just finished welding up the corners. Not winning any awards with my welds, but I think she's watertight. I have a high degree of confidence in that. So next thing I need to do is figure out some drains here. I've got a stainless steel nipple kicking around here somewhere that I'm going to drill a hole and pop that in the bottom of this here and weld her in. So that'll be the next step. All right, at long last, finally got her all together. I think that's about the end of the construction part of this here. Got the slats in here, water pan obviously. I put a couple drains in there, just welded on a couple of stainless steel nipples into the bottom. Put one there and one down somewhere at this end. Here she is. So that'll help facilitate draining a little quicker. And if it's tilted to one end or something slightly, I'll be able to drain it all right. So I do have the plumbing underneath there that you can see. I gotta glue that back up into there now. Now that I've got the water pan in place, got all the slats in, obviously. That was a lot of cutting. There's a lot of slats in this thing, but it's all together. Got a few extra slats there as well for spares. And yeah, theoretically, this thing is ready to make some sparks, although I do got to do a bunch of calibration. Get the system fine-tuned here. So yeah, let's get started on that. Or should we cut something out? I really want to try it, but it'd probably be best to do some calibration first, make sure things are working properly. All right, let's get to work on that. All right, so I got things all hooked up. Got the plasma cutter here, test fired it, it works. The Z-axis touch off works. I have gone and hooked up the factory torch, because I just want to try things with the settings that we got before I start changing things up and using my machine torch. I've got the first job loaded up here, and yes, I did remember to turn that back on. I just air cut it and it seemed to work. So we are going to hit run job and see what happens. All right, here we go. Oh, I should have some glasses on, shouldn't I? Oh yeah, it's making sparks. Woohoo! Yeah, right on. That is looking like super crisp. Nice. And there it's done. All right. Wow, that looks really nice. I am suitably impressed compared to my usual handheld plasma cutting. There's a magnet here. Let's see if this thing works. Looks like there's some dross that I'm gonna have to clean off in order to get that out of there, but yeah, it's not quite punching through all the way. So let me get that cleaned up, and this is actually kind of the calibration piece to see how square it is. I still have a bunch of calibration I got to do yet, but I just wanted to see it cut. So it works. It's alive. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is attempt to calibrate this thing. Picked up this reasonably cheap DRO here. It's just a little magnetic one, and it's supposed to be good to within 2 thou. Just got it mounted up here with a couple of magnets on the side. Here's my little readout. Let's grab that. Turn that on. So now I'm going to run this setup app here. Okay, so I'm just going to jog this back and forth a little bit to... So I just move that back and forth. Let's zero this just to settle it in there. So I move that back and forth. So, okay, I made my first mark. It's a 2-foot scale, so I'm going to move it 600 mils. There we go. And click. All right, so now we're moving. I got snagged there. Let's make sure that cord is free. Move that around. Moving fairly slow. Another 150 mils to go. Make sure we don't end up. Boom, there we go. Okay, so we moved 600 mils. What does this say? 600.48. So, made my second mark. Continue. 600.48. 600.48. 600.48. Apply new setting. Excellent. Update, yes. All right. Oh yeah, I was going to set that to 0. So let's go back now. I gotta figure out where I was. Okay, so that's basically zeroed out there again. I'm about 10 mils away from where I thought I was before. All right, so that's good. And what I should have done zero this. So I got somewhere to come back to. 0. Let's just go and run that wizard again now. See how we did. Y. Let's jog that forward and back a little bit to settle it out. Made my first mark. Okay, now let us zero this and move. It says 100, but it's, I think, gonna move 600. Yeah, okay, we're good. Rolling down the track. About halfway. $500. And we'll see where we end up at. 99.98. So we're out by 0.02 of a millimeter. That's like, what is that, like a thousandth of an inch, I think? So that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So next step here is that's the Y1 side, left side there. Now I got to calibrate this side. Now to do that, that's a matter of matching the belt tension. So I will reset up that DRO here on this side and do my 600 mil move again and adjust the belt tension to match what the movement is on the other side. So if I, depending on how I stretch this belt out, of course, there's going to be more or less teeth per length of the plasma table. So I will adjust that by stretching it or loosening it, depending on what I got to do. All right, so let's get that set up and do that now. All right, so I got this set up on the other side and I'm running it again and we'll see where we end up. Did I remember to zero that? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Okay, we're gonna run this a few times, of course, and make sure we get consistent readings. I did that on the other side there, and my second time, instead of getting 0.02, I got 0, bang on the money. So pretty happy. 600.54. So that means I moved more than I was expecting. So I believe that means I got to back off the tension at that end. So I'm going to run this a couple times and verify that I'm getting the same reading. Okay, 600.54. Got to remember that. All right, so let's cancel this. And that says I move 600, so let's go to work coordinate 0 on the Y. That should take us right back to where we started. That's 0 there, and that is not reading 0, so that's a good thing I'm running this again here. Wizards and tools, okay, so I can back that up. 10 mils, so let's do a minus and a plus. Did that move? No, it didn't. I didn't get the button. There we go. Okay, so, oh, interesting. So now that reads 0.03, so that's pretty darn close. 0. Okay, made my mark. Move. Here we go. Now we wait. What was that number? 600.54? Yeah. I should take the time to write this down or something. That would be a smart thing to do, wouldn't it? 400. And stop. All right, and we get 600.40 this time. Okay, so I'm going to run this a few times and get an average there of what it says I'm out. Excuse me. And then I'll adjust some belt tension. Okay, so I've run this thing a number of times. It it bounced around a little bit and then seemed to settle out. So I got like plus 0.54, plus 40, plus 0.36, and then 59.72. So what's that? 0.28 minus 0.28. And then all of a sudden, after that, I crashed it and reset it. And now I'm coming up with numbers like 600.02, 0.01, 0.01, like dead on. And I haven't actually adjusted anything. So I think I'm just going to leave it as is because that looks pretty bloody accurate. 0.01 again. So that's another one at 0.01. So half a thousandth of an inch. Now, granted, this thing is rated only at 0.02 anyways, so if I'm that close, that's pretty darn good. I'm not going to get much closer than that. So now I got to do, let's see, I got to calibrate the X, so I will double check that one here. So I'll reset this up, do the X, and the Y is not that critical because it's just going to pull off a little bit anyway, and actually maybe I will check that out and just verify it and make sure it's close. But I'm going to have I got a THC on the way anyways, a torch height controller, so that's going to control my torch height, but I definitely want that X correct, so I will set up for that now. All right, so I got things set up for the X-axis. Got myself zeroed out there, gonna run the wizard, calibrate X. Okay, so let's do a little jog back and forth. It should have her settled in. Let's zero this. And I made my first mark. I got this set up for 550 mils because I'm a little short on travel on this side. We'll probably do a little bit more, but 550 should be all right. All right, counting up. Slow, tedious process. It's very slow doing that. Going for 550. 548.65. 548.65. Okay, so second mark. 548.65. Apply. All right. Update, restart. Yeah. Yes, there it goes. All right, so set 0. No, not set 0. Go back to 0. Go to X0. All right, that's got that reset. Let's run the wizard again. That came back to 0.04, but I haven't jogged forward. Okay, calibrate, do the right one, get X this time. Let's do a minus. Plus, do that a couple times. That should have her settled out. Let's zero this. Made my mark. Move 550. All right. Tedious. Okay, let's see where we land. Oh, 0.02. That's all right. 550.02. That's like thousandths of an inch. So I'm quite happy with that, although I am going to run this multiple times again and just verify that I'm getting the same reading. So that is excellent. Super simple. I like it. All right, so just use my calipers to check the Z-axis, and it's bang on, which is to be expected because it's on a lead screw. That doesn't change like belt tension, and I just use the preset settings, the values that came with the JD's Garage package there. So that works awesome. So now I have calibrated in X, Y, and Z. It's moving evenly side to side. And the last thing would be to square things up. So I cut this last night. That was my first thing that I cut. And there's a little bit of rock in the square there, meaning that this cut a little bit this way. So I need to push it back, which means this screw needs to extend slightly here to get closer and hit this switch a little sooner. So I'm going to see if I can sort of approximate how much that is there and scale it and see if I can come up with a number for how far I want to move that screw out. So I will do that and then cut another test triangle. Oh, we're getting close to having this thing dialed in. I'm getting excited. All right, so I was messing around with stuff, looking at how straight this is and questioning my my methodology here. I know this is the way JD's Garage says to square it up, but I elected to, instead of running on a little 8-inch square, I decided to run off of framing square here. So squared up one side really accurately with the linear rail here, and then set it up and eyeballed this here, and I got that as close as I possibly could. And I think that's pretty square, but the proof would be to cut out another square here and see how we are. So we'll do that and maybe do a couple other little tests and see what we come up with. All right, just finishing up the next test triangle here. Ooh, I think I got the settings a whole lot better than last time. Okay, let's get this. Hang on. Where's my little magnet? What did I do with that? Hang on. I got another one I can use here. Nice. That is deadly. Very, very nice. Super clean cut. Very happy with that. Okay, let's find my square here. I got a little bit of dross on the back there I got to clean up. Let me do that and then we can check. Actually, I can just flop this thing over like so. Excellent. That's looking super good. Okay, I'm going to clean that up and just check it for squareness again. All right, doing my first real job, making a little sign for my wife. That is really nice. I'm sure my settings aren't quite right. I got to develop these a little bit, but for a little test piece, this is working out really well. Pretty impressive. I keep thinking it's going to burn through those little bits, the tiny little bridges in there. All right. Here's the outline. Nice. Let's get that picked out and cleaned out. Cleaned up, I should say.